Okay. So Hare Krishna, everybody. Welcome to our Gita Gyan Essence of the Bhagavad Gita course for level 1. And this is day 11. We dedicate this presentation to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. We begin with this prayer. Join me if you can. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Mama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vigna Vinasha Narasimhaiti Namine Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayitim Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanyam Ishwaram Om Tatsat. Jai Sri Sri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai Sri Sri Nitai Sundar Gaurahari, and also Sri Sri Radha Madhava Ashtashaki of Sridhar Mayapur. So we begin with Gita Mahatmya. This is the glorification of the Bhagavad Gita, coming from verse 19 of the Vaishnava Tantriya Sara. Tasmad Dharma Mayi Gita Sarvanyana Prayojika Sarva Shastra Sarabhuta Vishuddha Savisheshyate. Therefore, the Gita should be offered all respects at all times and in all places as the inaugurator of all religious wisdom and the spotless essence of all holy scriptures. So the meaning from this verse is, we should include the recitation of the Gita in any auspicious spiritual activity, because otherwise those so-called auspicious spiritual activities would be fruitive, karma kanda. It will be having some kind of material goal. But when we include the Bhagavad Gita, when we just recite, when we get someone or a devotee or ourselves, we recite the Bhagavad Gita in this, samskaras and activities and rituals and yagyas and ceremonies, then it adds a dimension of spirituality. So therefore, it should be offered respect at all times, in all places. Right, so Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We begin with by recapping chapter 10, the title was The Opulence of the Absolute. So here I'm just going through the subtopics that we came across, that we went through yesterday. So chapter 10 is continuation of chapter 9. Chapter 9 was the most secret knowledge, or the king of knowledge. And in chapter 10, even more confidential. So this is especially meant for the devotees. So more perfect understanding of the ultimate truth. And in here, Krishna begins to reveal deeper about himself. So more information about how he is Sarva Karana Karanam, the cause of all causes. And he goes on to talk about Ananya Bhakti. So how to attain this Ananya Bhakti. So here we came across the Chatur Sloki, the four, how you could say, the seed verses of the Bhagavad Gita, from which the rest of the entire Bhagavad Gita is built upon. So here we spoke about how firm faith of Krishna's opulence and position is the key to develop and strengthen our faith. So in this way, we can come to the point of surrender. Surrender cannot come when we do not have full confidence and faith in the supremacy of the Supreme Lord. So therefore, these chapters are basically discussing this point. Ananya Bhakti and Krishna's reciprocation. So then Krishna goes on to say how one has to come to the stage of pure devotional service, Ananya Bhakti. So it cannot be mixed with karma, or it cannot be mixed with jnana. We can begin with mixed devotional service, and then from there, the process of devotional service itself will purify us, and in this way we will come to this point of Ananya Bhakti, and from then we really develop the path of surrender to the Supreme Lord. And then here Krishna talked about how he reciprocates with those people, with such devotees who have developed Ananya Bhakti, what kind of reciprocation he gives to them. And then how he guides them from within his heart by shining the lamp of knowledge so that they will know the way back to him. So this is the Chatur Sloki, basically, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then after hearing all this from Krishna, Arjuna now, for the first time, he speaks after chapter 7. Because from chapter 7 onwards, the beginning of chapter 7, he asked a question. And then after that, Krishna goes on speaking fully in chapter 7, chapter 8, chapter 9, and chapter 10. And then Arjuna finally, he was listening spellbound, and his illusion was being cleared away. And finally, he also, after whatever Krishna has spoken here, he accepts unconditionally what Krishna has said, and he reconfirms this, that not only you have said it, other great sages like Devala, Narada, and all these people have also reconfirmed the same truth. And then Arjuna will ask, you have told me, chapter 9, Man Mana Bhava Mat Bhakto, always think of me and become my devotee. But how to think of you? Can you help me? So then Krishna gives some pointers on how we could try to remember Krishna in every activity, in whatever that we do, in whatever that we see. So therefore, he begins to speak about Krishna's vibhutis, his own special manifestation, extraordinary manifestations of power, strength, beauty. We heard about, how Bhagavan is having the six qualities in full, samagrasya. So what are these 6 qualities? If you remember, they were, we began with opulence, Aishwarya, right? All opulences in completeness. Then we spoke about Virasya, all power and strength and greatness in completeness. And then we spoke about Yasasya, fame, how he is the most famous personality in the whole 3 worlds. And then we spoke about Jnana, knowledge, So one who has the ultimate, who is the, not only, he's the basically the goal of knowledge. The four Vedas are basically glorifying the Supreme Lord. So, and then we spoke about Vairagya. Let me see, strength, beauty, beauty, I forgot to mention beauty, Shriya, Shriya. So all beauty, so, and he's the reservoir of all beauty, and therefore he's called Krishna, the all attractive. And then finally, Vairagya, or renunciation, one who is able to completely, not dependent of anything or anyone, and completely independent. So Swarat, the word is Swarat. So Krishna is the supreme Swarat, completely independent. So to be able to be that way is one of the opulences, and he has that in full completeness. So these qualities make him the Bhagavan, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Then we heard about the story of Lakshmi Devi and how she accepted the Supreme Lord as the ultimate and all that. And from these qualities of greatness that he has, Krishna is talking about how you can see in all of creation, anyone or any being or any creature or anything which is exhibiting any of these great qualities, you can understand that it is actually merely a spark of my splendor. Tejo Amsa Sambhava, right? It is my Tejas, and not just my Tejas, Amsa, just a spark of my Tejas Sambhava. You can understand it that way. And in this way, you can remember me. So Krishna is telling Arjuna. So that is how we ended with chapter 10. So now, these were the takeaways also, the same points. Ishvara Parama Krishna, Sarva Karana Karanam, the cause of all causes, the supreme controller, and pure devotion, and how all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of Krishna's splendor. So now, we are now moving to chapter 11. And this chapter is quite interesting. There's a bit of action now. So up to chapter 10, it was basically lecture. And then from chapter 11, there's a bit of practical. So the tone will be slightly different in this chapter. So it's called the universal form. The Sanskrit translation would be Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga. So Vishwarupa means Rupa, the form which is encompassing the entire universe. Vishwa, all creation, or the entire material creation rather. Vishwarupa Darshana. Darshana means to get the blessings of his vision. So Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga. So it begins by how Arjuna, after speaking all this and asking Krishna to tell him how to remember him, and Krishna will speak about his vibhutis, and then Krishna will declare to, Arjuna will declare to Krishna, "Oh Krishna, now my illusion is dispelled, and therefore I am eager for your darshan and your instructions." So if you remember the contrast of how Arjuna was in the beginning of this Bhagavad Gita in chapter 1. If you remember the signs of victory, and then after that, how Arjuna was asking Krishna to bring him to the center of the battlefield, and then seeing all his relatives, Bhishma, Drona, all lined up in front of him, ready to kill him, Arjuna became covered by illusion. Arjuna Vishada Yoga. So he became covered by the illusion, and in this way, he started to tremble, the signs of misery, right? Arjuna displayed many signs of mental trauma, which was described in the Bhagavad Gita chapter 1. His limbs were shaking, his hands were sweaty, his Gandiva bow was slipping from his shoulder, and in this way, his skin was burning, and his mind was reeling. So in this way, these were all the situations that he had, and he was indecisive, and he was troubled, and he was crying. So all this was going on. But now, the illusion, so this is what transcendental knowledge gives us. So even in our lives, when we go through such situations, if we take shelter of the Gita, That's why Mahatma Gandhi says, if ever I feel depressed or sad, I open the Bhagavad Gita and just randomly somehow I will find one passage in the Gita which will give me comfort and solace. So this way, transcendental knowledge, what does transcendental knowledge do? It is like a boat, remember? So it actually puts us in a safe position, relatively safe position from the material ocean. So in this way, we are saved, and then we are given direction. So this is transcendental knowledge, and that's what has and it culminated in chapters 9 and 10 to understand the goal of that transcendental knowledge, and the method also was highlighted on how to achieve him. So Arjuna was fully prepared. So in this way, we can see how Arjuna is now saying, I am now free from this illusion. So he will declare in verses 1 to 4 in chapter 11. So Arjuna will say, you have given the most confidential knowledge and my illusion is destroyed. Verse 1. And then he will say in verse 2, I have heard your glories, your inexhaustible glories. So here we can understand, even in chapter 9 and chapter 10, even in chapter 10, we heard Arjuna's prayers to the Lord, how he completely accepted the Supreme Lord on whatever that he mentioned about his position and supremacy, and how he himself reaffirmed the same truth. So we can understand that Arjuna was already fully convinced, okay, and his illusion is gone. So now he is working in tandem with the mission of the Lord now, because the Lord wanted this Bhagavad Gita to be spoken. Remember, it was spoken at the end of Dwapara Yuga, right before the Kali Yuga was about to begin. So this is meant for all the people in Kali Yuga. So therefore, Arjuna, he understands that in Kali Yuga, there will be many imposters who go about claiming that they are God or that they are incarnations of God. And in this way, scripture is there. So, and the populace may not accept scripture entirely. So therefore, Arjuna is setting the standard. So for the sake of everyone else in the world, everyone else who might not believe, Arjuna is asking Krishna, can you show me these glories? So why he's asking to show is because he's picking up from the previous verse, previous chapter, in chapter 10, 42, Krishna will say, with a single fragment of myself, Tejo Amsa Sambhavan, with a single fraction of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. So picking on this verse, on this point, Arjuna will tell Krishna this particular verse, 11.3. So I'll read out this verse and then we will see the translation. Evam etad yatathatvam atmanam parameshvara drashtum ichchami te rupam aishwaram purushottama. Translation. O greatest of all personalities, O supreme form, though I see you here before me in your actual position, ichchami te rupam, right? In your actual position, as you have described yourself, I wish now to see how you have entered into this cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours. So Arjuna is actually asking this on behalf of the people of Kali Yuga. So he wants to show, if someone claims to be God or someone claims to be Bhagavan, they should be able to show what Krishna was able to show to Arjuna. So therefore, he's setting one of the standards. So here Krishna said, right, I enter into this material universe by a single fragment. So now he's asking, can you show me, since you have entered into this material universe, I want to see that form. Can you show me that particular form? But here is a very important point here. Arjuna is saying, I see you here before me in your actual position. Drashtum ichchami te rupam. So here he's indicating that he accepts this particular form of the Lord, Krishna, as the Swayam Bhagavan. So therefore, the original form of the Lord is this Krishna. And from here he's saying, can you show me that particular manifestation? Remember, we were speaking about manifestations. Okay, so therefore, Krishna, after hearing this, he will tell Arjuna, yes, I will show you this Vishwarupa Darshan. So this is called the universal form made out of material elements is known as the Vishwarupa Darshan. And he says, if you see this form, you can see the past, the present, and the future, all within this one form, you will be able to see. But you will need divine eyes to see. And therefore, I grant you now these divine eyes. So, and after this, you will be able to have this divine darshan of how you can see past, present, and future, all one shot within the entire material creation, earth, fire, water, air, ether, and the 24 elements of material creation, all existing in one form. So it's like, you know, it's a bit difficult to understand how we can see the entire creation, the essence of all creation to be in one form. So therefore, he blesses Arjuna with this. And he says, 11.8, Na tu mam shakshyase drashtum anenaiva swachaksusa divyam dadami te chakshu pasyami yogam aishwaram. So therefore he says, but you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore I give you the divine eyes, divyam chakshu. So divya means transcendental, chakshu means vision. And in this way, you can see my yogam aishwaram, my mystic opulence. So Krishna grants this divine vision to Arjuna. So it's described in elsewhere that it's not just Arjuna who was able to see. Those devotees of the Lord who were present in the battlefield of Kurukshetra were able to see, such as Bhishma, such as the Pandavas, Yudhishthira, and even Dronacharya. They were able to see, but the rest of them were not able to see. But there was another person who could also see this divine vision, and this person was not even in the battlefield. That person is Sanjaya, who is narrating what's happening through his, he already got that divine vision from Vyasadev. Vyasadev blessed him with a certain ability to see from far distance, right? And to hear whatever they are saying. So in this way, because he was also a disciple of Vyasa, he was able to get this divine vision, and he could also see this vision, and he could describe it to Dhritarashtra. And lo and behold, the Lord reveals his mystic Vishwarupa vision. So these are just artistic, okay. Okay, if there for some reason my Zoom may crash, I'm not sure why it's supposed to be a full license, but if it does crash, we will continue again. You can just join back. Here it says another 9 minutes and then it will crash, but we can just join back after that. And I will remember to re-record the session. Okay, so as I was saying, anyway, this is the divine vision. And after seeing this divine vision, so now Sanjaya, he will describe this divine vision as seen by the eyes of Arjuna. So verses 10, 11, 10 and 11, 11. Arjuna saw in that universal form unlimited mouths, unlimited eyes, unlimited wonderful visions. The form was decorated with many celestial ornaments and bore many divine upraised weapons. He wore celestial garlands and garments, and many divine scents were smeared over his body. All was wondrous, brilliant, unlimited, all expanding. So these are words. It's not possible for us to really understand the true vision of what Krishna or what Arjuna saw. So basically, the entire universal form. So here some descriptions are given to help us imagine. And then Tatraika Stam Jagat Krishnam Pravibhaktam Anikada Apasya Deva Devasya Chandre Pandavastada. At that time, Arjuna could see in the universal form of the Lord the unlimited expansions of the universe situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. So here's an explanation of what some of the things that Arjuna saw, how he could see in one place the entire universe. So that is a bit difficult for us to imagine. So as I said, some things we can't understand or imagine is called achintya. This is the semblance of the achintya shakti of the Lord, the inconceivable potency of the Lord. And then Arjuna will continue. Arjuna uvacha pashyami devam stava dehe deva dehe sarvam stata bhuta visesha sangan brahmanam isham kamalashanastam rishimscha sarvan uragamscha divyan. Arjuna said, my dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled in your body all the devatas, the demigods, and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus, Brahma Kamalasana. So Brahma sitting on the lotus, as well as Isham, Lord Shiva, and all the sages, Rishims, all the sages, and Sarvan Uragamscha Divyan, the divine serpents. Uragam is serpent, the divine serpents and all. So this is Adisesh, right? The Adisesh, the many-hooded Naga, who is one of the expansions of Lord himself. And in this way, here's a description of how Krishna is the reservoir of all the great personalities in this creation. So in this way, Arjuna's illusion is dispelled, and we saw how it was dispelled 11.1 to 11.4, and the Vishwarupa Darshan is described from 11.5 to 11.48. So many verses, a lot of descriptions are given. So I've broken them into subsections, so to help us navigate through this Vishwarupa Darshan. This chapter is reasonably long. It's about 55 verses, and here you can see majority of it is describing the Vishwarupa Darshan. So first we understand that everything can be seen, including past, present, and future. So we will hear more about this later on. Divine eyes was given, and then we saw the Vishwarupa Darshan 11:10 to 11:17. Descriptions were given about the form from Sanjaya's viewpoint. And then Arjuna also will start offering prayers. He will start describing the vision, and he will offer prayers to the Supreme Lord in this particular form, in this Vishwarupa form. And while he is giving these prayers, he will also describe this form. So one of it is like this, 11:18. You are the supreme primal objective. You are the ultimate resting place of all this universe. You are inexhaustible, and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of the eternal religion, the personality of Godhead. So like that, he will go on glorifying. So we can also memorize some of these beautiful verses of glorification. And then this is another example of here. So while he's glorifying the Lord, slowly that universal vision, that Vishwarupa or Jagat Rupa, is slowly changing in nature. So how is it changing? We will see from this verse. And this is Arjuna's glorification. As Arjuna is glorifying it, we can see how it is changing. Anadi madhyantam anantaviryam anantabahum shashi surya netram pasyami tvam dvipta hutashavakram swatejasa vishwan idam tapantam. You are without origin, middle, or end. Anadi, Anadi means without beginning. Madhyantam, that means without the middle, and Ananta Viryam, that means without the ending. And in this way, your glory is unlimited. Ananta Viryam. Your glory is unlimited. You have numberless arm. Ananta Bahum. Arm means Bahum. And Sasi Surya Netram. Netram means eyes. And your eyes are like the sun and the moon are like your eyes. So remember, this is the material representation of the Lord. Now, this form of the Lord is, though it is material, made up of material elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether, and it is made up of the material representation, the earth, the sun, the moon, the planets, the universe, all the devatas within the material creation. So all of them are part of the material creation. So therefore, this form represents that. So therefore, it is called Vishwarupa, or the universal form. And this is, it's a material representation. But though it is material representation, it is still spiritual because it is the form of the Lord. But this form of the Lord, since it is a material representation, it is not an eternal form. It is just a temporary form which is shown to give understanding to Arjuna and to everyone else how the Lord is the master of everything. So this is just to help with the understanding. So that's why you will find that nowhere in the world, except in one temple, you will find that this Vishwarupa is worshipped. So devotees of the Lord don't like to worship this Vishwarupa form because this form is not eternal. It is just a temporary form which is shown. Though it is transcendental, it is temporary and it's shown only. So it's not a form where one can develop reciprocation, one can develop rasa or servitude. It is basically an awe and reverential form. And we will see later how this form brings out also fear in Arjuna, as Arjuna is looking at this glorious form. So you can see here, I see fire blazing from your mouth, heating this entire universe by your own radiance. So in the beginning, it's all very wondrous, very wonderful and everything. Okay, in less than a minute, the Zoom will crash. I think what I will do, I'll just wait until it crashes. If it crashes, just rejoin back from the link again. Okay, so I will just continue speaking till then. Maybe I will stop the recording.